All right, let's get into the curve tool of your editing suite. This is my personal favorite editing tool. If I had to choose one tool within color grading to use for the rest of my life, it would be the curve tool. That goes for both videos and photos. I love the curve tool. I think it's so versatile, but let's get into it. So again, I'm gonna use this raw, straight out of camera video and create a new adjustment layer because in the last video, we have another adjustment layer that is already tweaked with the basic corrections. So we're gonna start fresh. So the curve tool is similar to the lighting tools in your basic corrections tab, except it is kind of all encompassing. You have a lot of power, a lot of control over your shadows, midtones, and highlights. And just to give you a little demonstration on the power of the curve tool, let's just create a little S curve to increase the contrast in both the highlights and the shadows of this video. So an S curve is basically you put a plot point right in the middle of the curve and you just create a little S in the curve, just like that. Now you can see it's a little dark right now. It's a little too contrasted, but we have a lot of control moving forward. So if we wanna increase the midtones of this video, which I do, just bring this up slightly, bring the shadows up, and then let's create another plot point down here in the shadows range. And you can see here, because this particular plot point is isolated from the highlights, it's really isolating the shadows and the intensity of the shadows of the video. So we're gonna adjust this. We can bring the black point up, which I love to do. I think that makes a video look very artsy. So I'm gonna bring the black point up, gonna keep the shadows looking intense. Maybe adjust this ever so slightly. So that is basic level 1 of the curve tool, but there are also red, green, and blue curves individually. So on the red curve, if you drag this red line all the way up, it's going to essentially touch every single pixel, make it red, and drag it all the way down. You can see it turns everything to a cyan type of tint. Boom, all of the highlights are a little bit more rosy. And if we want to make the shadows a deeper blue, have those cyan hues, we can bring the bottom point in a little bit. And as you can see, the further in I bring it, the more blue the shadows are getting. And the further up the axis I bring it, the redder the shadows are getting. This is where more artistic, individual creative choices come in. You can play around with these curves for days. I'll show you how we can adjust the green curve here. I love adding a green tint to my shadows. And lastly, the blue curve. You can see the extremes here. I'm gonna make the shadows a little bit warmer on the blue curve and isolate everything else. So with the curve tool, take your time, play around with it. I personally think it's so much fun, but drop your before and after screenshots into the Video Guild to let us know how it goes.